The day is finally here. I cannot believe it. Finally, the Helix Stadium is here and able to be talked about. After 10 years of Helix, we finally have our Stadium XL. It's a little bit hard because, there's already been a bunch of Line 6 content out on what this thing can do and what the capabilities are going to be, but I wanted to give you my thoughts and show you what I think. Man, it's hard to even pick where to start here. If you're new to Helix, you're new to Stadium, whatever this is, go download the day one update. When you get it, you log in, you connect to your Wi-Fi, you download the first update. You have to do it. It's the day one must do. I guess that's the price we pay for having them ship these out early if we didn't want to wait for Showcase. So you have to download that on day one, which no problem. It's all done through Wi-Fi, which is awesome. The editor is also through Wi-Fi. I'm actually not connected to my computer, so this is literally happening over Wi-Fi. That you see my preset up here. The editor is clean, super nice, super easy to use. Look at this. You even have a knob view. So I know a lot of people were always complaining about sliders and Helix, and now you have your choice. Knobs or sliders. Let me know in the comments which team you are. For those of you that don't know, or if it's your first time here, I do all things digital amp modeling here on this channel. I even have a podcast dedicated to digital amp modeling where I get pros from all walks of life on the channel to discuss their uses of digital amp gear. And yeah, it's kind of my thing. So if it's your thing, consider subscribing because my analytics say 80% of my views come from people that are not subscribed. Let's get back to the Stadium. So a lot of people are wondering about the DSP capability. So there was actually a post in the Facebook group about this using the Prince of Tone as a reference, or the King of Tone pedal, the Tone Sovereign as a reference. One Tone Sovereign took up 20% DSP of one signal path on the old Helix. So here I've got 12 across on two paths, which is a 24 total. And the old Helix could only handle 10, I believe. So to answer your questions about how much DSP this has relative to the original Helix, I don't know how good of a representation this is exactly. This is kind of just like a loose experiment here because the DSP allotment might be different. Like I know other companies use different DSP chips for like reverb, for example, to lighten the load on other fronts. But as far as that as a general idea, loose guideline, we're looking at a lot more DSP than the original Helix. So I hope that answers that question for anybody else. Other day one things that I say that you need to do, you definitely need to go to your global settings and just always run through here. Make sure your instrument pad is on or off if that's something that you need. Quarter inch outs, I always set to line. XLR out is always mic. Effects loops are instrument level. And when you go to your switches and pedals, I love the touch capacitive switches. That's something that was a game changer for the original Helix. That was one of my favorite features. So I'm really glad that that carried over into Stadium. Right here, you have manual or automatic assign effects to stomps. Put that in manual. This should never be done automatically because basically anytime you add a pedal, it's going to put it in the first available slot. It's just a dumb idea. Other companies have that also, and I don't understand it. Now, this is cool. your Footswitch mode, deciding what you want to do. You'll notice here you have Stomp A and Stomp B. I hope you could make that out on the camera. You have Stomp A and Stomp B, meaning that you have 2 pages worth of stomps. So I can set this up to be Stomp B and Stomp A, and you now have 10 foot switches times 2 pages. So you have 20 foot switches per preset. And if you watch this channel for Helix, you know that I love this thing called Command Center that we'll talk about in a second. But basically it allows you, and Line 6 is one of the only companies that allow you to really do this, where you can open format the entire floorboard. And this, you have 10 foot switches to do so. So you can do this whichever way you want. If you wanted to do your hybrid modes, you can do this however you want it to be. Combo mode, meaning half snapshot, half stomp box. You can do your presets, whatever you want to do on your foot switch layouts. That's always, always awesome. I personally haven't settled on one that I like best yet, but I always love using Command Center because Command Center allows you to just put anything you want anywhere you want, and being in stomp mode gives you the most flexibility, in my opinion. And for those of you that don't know what snapshots are like scenes in other units. At this point in the game, you all know what that is, or at least should. If you don't, a preset is your master rig. And then you have snapshots within that rig. So a snapshot is basically a preset within your given preset rig. So say this big contraption is my rig. A snapshot is going to be a preset. So I can change any amount of parameters, any amount of bypass assignments. I believe there is a limit, but I think it's something crazy that you'll never ever achieve. So near limitless, changing your parameters and changing your stomp box assignments so that everything is done with one foot switch. So I can have a solo boost on one foot switch that does 50 different things. I can have an ambient sound on one foot switch that does another completely independent 25 things, for example. So snapshots were a game changer in Helix, and they're obviously carried over into Helix Stadium. So this is combo mode, where you have right now it's presets on the top, stomps on the bottom. So you can now go into here, and you can change this to stomps, snapshots, whatever it is you want. And it can be from whatever page. So either page of stomp boxes is awesome there. And you can change either. So you can put whatever you want, wherever you want. And you have a couple of other clock functions where you can, well, I almost said a bad word. You have a couple of other clock functions, or you can go from your clock to a stopwatch, where you can basically run your set time up here and you'll have a running time. Stop that, go back to my clock, back to New York time. And then on the actual unit, you have a bunch of different things. This is your volume matrix, so you can change what you're adjusting volume on. So if your 1/4 inch, your XLR, and your headphones, you can double tap it and it takes you to the whole matrix, where you could play songs in the showcase mode eventually. I think that's how that's going to work. You have a metronome that you can mute or solo. You can put in your signal chain and change the volume. Count-ins for that metronome. This is all stuff I think that's going to be a little bit more clear as the showcase comes out and as new features are added. Right now, I'm basically focused on the main aspects of this as a gigging guitar player and what this is like to actually play as a musician. Okay, so speaking of Command Center, it's right there. And this is essentially showing you everything that you have set up in your stomp mode. And you see you have your stomp B here. So all of this can be made to whatever you want. So you can make this a preset or a snapshot. You could press, hold, toggle. You could also have, these could also be momentary if you choose when it comes to snapshots. So if I go over to snapshot, I can pick any number of snapshot and that will appear. Oops. On stomp B. So if I need that snapshot, it will be there when I need it. All right, so let's plug it in. Let's hear some sounds and start getting into what this thing actually is going to be like to use. I think that tuner is pretty good. All right, so this is a preset that I just built that I want to use for our Christmas show. For those that are interested, you can come and see and hear the Helix Stadium live. I'll be on tour with Jessica Lynn, who's my wife. We're doing a Christmas show all around the Northeast. I'll put links to our schedule below. It would be awesome to meet some of you guys, and if you want to come say hello, talk about guitar gear, absolutely come and say hello. I will put those links below. So here, got my Heritage Standard 2 that I just got. This is an awesome guitar. I also have links to this below. So this is actually a modified one of my stock presets. I'll show you in a second. But just wanted to run through here and show you some cool stuff. Focus view in particular makes dialing presets in a breeze. For example, like this boost comp. For those that don't know what a compressor does, you have such cool stuff here, presets. That's actually a hidden gem. There is this legacy. For those that don't know what that means, a legacy effect is one from the old Line 6 stuff that I still love. And that makes it so useful for dialing in things, especially things that you don't know what they do. I know that there's some parameters that I still have no idea what they do. And it's really helpful having focus view there to show you around and get you basically presets within each given block. Let's say, for example, by the way, this is touch capacitive, meaning we turned that setting on before when we first started. And basically what this does is that if I tap one of these, I can instantly call up the settings to that pedal. It was a bigger deal on normal Helix because you couldn't touch screen, but now that you could touch screen, you can actually just tap it and pull up the settings. But the touch capacitance is just force of habit. Tap it and you pull up your settings. So this is the Diana drive. This is one of my favorite drives in the whole Line 6 ecosystem. And now when I'm in the focus view, I could try out all of these other sounds. So focus view, touch capacitance switches, all awesome. We haven't even talked about amps. You obviously have the Agora amp modeling. I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know. Sounds really great. You can check your focus view here, see what different presets you have. I'm not going to touch it because I dialed this in the way I like it. So let's go over to the factory presets, see what else we got in here. This is one of mine. This is called Old Anno. And now when I go to my snapshot mode, you see every one of these presets comes with snapshots, so I could just access them there. And you can find out more information about the presets. If you tap that eye, it'll tell you what we made the presets on, what guitar we used, what playback system. You can adjust the text size. Basically, it gives you a head start on what exactly the intention behind the preset is. You can also hit the paperclip, and it will actually play something that we played. So I actually played that to show what this preset sounds like. I like that idea. I don't know how practical it is in a lot of applications for what I do, because I basically try to give you guys the tools to make your own presets and sound how you want. So if you're making, I guess, a specific cover song, a specific preset for a specific song, that would be awesome. You know, you play a very similar riff so you don't get in trouble. And you can actually listen to what the preset sounds like before you download it, and you can at least hear it as it was intended by the preset maker. So yeah, we're on the Soldano. Let's go to some more games. And on all of my cabinets, I always use dual cabs. That's just my workflow. I will teach you guys how to do that in a separate video, but all of mine always have 2 cabs. Let's try some of the other presets here and see what other contributions were here. I don't know who made what, but let's take a guess here. Nice. Let's purple nurple. This is going to be something high gain, methinks. Nice. I think every preset in here is going to sound really great. Let's do a German lead and then we'll get out of here. All right, so cons. Let's talk about it. Let's get real. I'm going to pretend that didn't happen. So, cons. I've got so much hair on this already. Why are these things hair magnets like that? So, the time between presets does take quite a bit. So, let me get to where I'm going here. If I'm in preset mode, we're pretty quick going into preset mode, but you do have an audible gap. I'm curious if this is something that will be worked on as it goes. It seems like all of the units are getting more efficient with their DSP switching. So I also don't really get why people don't just use snapshots. There's no reason for you to be switching presets in between songs, in my opinion. There's got to be a way for you to figure it out in snapshots. At least that's how I feel. Number 2, there's no way for us to actually just route to path 1B. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm here and I wanted to go from this arrow to this arrow, so I've got to actually make a split path and lose that little space right there. Not a huge concern. I'll show you on HX Edit if that doesn't make any sense. Let's come back to this preset. So to get, I can't get from here to the second path. So say I drag this here. I want to be able to go from here to here because I run a dual guitar rig quite often, and I would need to use both of these signal paths for one guitar and then use both of these signal paths for one guitar. And by the way, in case you're wondering, you can just hit new preset and you'll have all of your preset templates here. This is actually called Super Serial. So if I go to new preset, you'll see how it's laid out here. This is basically the way to go if you want all four signals, all four lanes in one preset. Yeah, I think this needs to go. I'm sure it's harder than it sounds than me just basically complaining about it. I hate that you can't do that in Quad Cortex, and I hate that you can't do that in Helix. I want to be able to take this to there and just be able to go from path 1A to path 1B. And this is something that I think will be subject to improvement. This boot up time is bad. Let's see. I'm going to click it on right now. Might as well clean it while I'm waiting. Still going. There's internal click. Still going. Okay, we have a logo now. And we're finally up. So that is definitely a bummer. That's a long time. That's definitely something that they're going to speed up. With the old Helix, there was one update in particular that like sped up the boot up. I don't even know how I'm trying to say this. It sped up the boot time by a lot. So it is definitely possible for that to happen in an update, and I'm sure they're going to do it soon. This was a monstrous project for them, so to have such minimal complaints at launch, I think is really good. The sounds are incredible. The workflow, the interface is all next level. The Helix has always, for me, been the best gig experience, and I think that they absolutely crushed the gig experience with the Helix Stadium also. The screen is huge. It's so interactive, easy to use. You're not going to need a manual. And yeah, I'm just loving it so far. So that does it for this first overview. This is a long, brief overview of the Line 6 Helix Stadium. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, what you want to see in the future. I'm planning a lot of content for this thing in the next couple of years. Wow, that feels weird to say. But yeah, let me know what you want to see in the future. If you made it this far in the video, I will see you in the next one.